I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending December the 16th. And this just looks like a good stopping place for 2016. Get ready for the new year. After last week, we had a positive week. Had a pretty good rally going up through most of the month. And then week before this past one, we had a big fall off there, losing $5 on the fat cattle market and the negotiated sales, and kind of a downer market on your feeders, and the board was not doing a whole lot, and everything was just kind of a downer, and it looked like we might end the year that way. But then this past week we came up and had a really good week. You look at your live cattle futures for February. Monday was up 242, and that was a big surprise when everything shot up on Monday, and all the commodities were highly demanded, and it just seemed like the funds were ready to give us a little support again, and that's really what started it all, was that Monday board. Up 242 Monday on February live cattle. Tuesday was up $1.02, Wednesday off 27 cents, Thursday down 42, and then Friday back up 207. To end the week at 115.35 for February live cattle. That's up 483 for the week. December spot fats are at 112.32, which is not too far from where our spot market is. Feeder cattle on January up 260 on that big Monday. Tuesday was up 42. Wednesday down $1.27. Thursday unchanged. And Friday up 220 to end the week, with January feeder cattle at 129.90. That's up 395 for the week. Look at the fat cattle market negotiated sales. It really was funny developing this last week. We didn't have anything earlier in the week at all, so nothing really to go on, and everybody was still mad about losing $5 the week before. And then they had the online sales there from $1.10 to $1.11. Then right after that, Wednesday afternoon, we did have a few negotiated sales around $1.11 there, and that wasn't too bad, and kind of had people thinking that you know, we didn't give up any more ground. So then we didn't have anything more to trade there for the last part of the week, and we weren't sure how hungry the packers were. We know that this week's going to be a real light kill, and then the following week, next week's going to be a really light kill. Even worse because the week between Christmas and New Year's there. But we weren't sure how much captive supply the packers had, how much cattle they needed. We knew they'd probably have to have a few to fill in, but didn't know how hungry they'd be. The thing was, the feeders, the cattle feeders, weren't that easy to trade with, because they were looking at the February board, which was a big advantage to what the December board is, and they thought, well shoot, we'll just wait till after the holidays. We come in here first part of January, that December board's gone, and we've got a little bit more to go on, and we're in good shape on our being current anyway, so what the heck. But then Friday, packers come out and they raise their bids up to $1.12. So we saw some trade, not significant trade, and it's going to be a fairly light week probably as we get them all scraped together, about like the previous week there. But $1.12 still in all 5 major feeding areas. That's $2 higher. Had a few up to $112.50 in Nebraska, and the Northern Plains really won out this week because their dress sales, which didn't have any at all until we got up to Friday afternoon late, at $175. That's $5 higher, gaining all that ground they lost the week before. But box beef cutout values had a pretty good week. Had a little rally right in there before Christmas on the stuff they could deliver right now, but we know it's going to drop off right after the holidays, and we need to build it up as much as we can, and the packers realize that they're going to have to pull their prices back to get anything sold after the new year. But choice boxes, 192.05 on the average sale for the week. That was up 220. Selects at 177.06, up 480. So that was a good week on 624 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings there. Your slaughter for the week, down a little bit. It really could have been a little bit stronger leading into these 2 weeks of light kill there, but 599,000 head of cattle slaughtered this past week, which was down 12,000 from the same week a year, the previous week, but up 13,000 from the same week a year ago. Look at your cash feeder cattle market. Your feeder weights, the big calves, there's not a whole lot of yearlings out there, but the big calves, the cattle that are going right into the feedlot, firm to $3 higher. ending the week after opening the week as much as $7 higher. But the cash feeder cattle auctions opened big, just like the board did and everything on Monday there. And then Tuesday it was still higher, but not as much higher as it was on Monday compared to the previous week. And then as we worked through towards the end of the week, it just kind of moderated out. So still higher for the week in those late week sales, but not as much as the big gains you had on your Monday. And we will have some sales this Monday, and that could make them a little lower because your late week sales were not as much higher compared to the previous week as they were. But and we're also getting kind of close to the holidays. You're not having quite as many people aggressive out there trying to buy them in. Their help once off. They like to be off for the holidays too, like everybody else. And all those cattle, I don't care what all they've had, whenever they go through the ring and preach about them, they've all got to go through the chute when they get to where they're going. And there's got to be people there to do that. Now your calves were very uneven. In the southern plains, most of your calves were $2 to $5 lower, especially your steer calves. While in the northern plains, most of your calves were $3 to $5 higher, with the biggest push on your heifer calves. But there was definitely better demand for big calves, not as big that they have to go right into the feedlot, but just big background in calves. Big, healthy background in calves, and big, fat, healthy background in calves, because the flesh didn't bother them so much this past week, because they knew that big storm coming in. And a lot of us had to learn the hard way. I'm sure one of them. You love to buy thin calves to background, but when it's really cold, like it has been here this last weekend, you can't buy thin calves. They can't outrun the cold. They need that flesh to keep warm. And that's all they can do to eat to keep warm, and they don't grow. And it's better to have some fleshy calves when you get this deep into the winter and the really cold weather. But and then light calves, your calves weigh in the probably from 550 down. Just not a whole lot of demand for them. Your guys in the northern plains, they like the background calves. They supplement feed them a whole lot. They may have a place to kind of turn them out, but mostly they're going to be fed. They want a big, healthy, fleshy calf to do that with. Your guys in the southern plains prefer a lighter calf they can turn out on wheat or something, but they've already done that. But this weather was such a big deal this past weekend. If you look at places around, I know here in the Amarillo area on Friday afternoon, the temperature was around 76 degrees and the wind was gusting up to 60 miles an hour. By Saturday night it was 2 degrees and bitter cold. How would you like to be a shipped in calf from Alabama or Florida? Never seen either one of those things before, and you got a thin hot wire for a windbreak. Not too much fun for them, not too much fun for their owners, and it's really tough. Now it's cold up in the northern plains, really cold too, but when you're pumping all that feed to them, they can withstand it a little bit better. You don't get near as much supplemental feeding in the southern plains simply because you don't have guys that have it, you know. The guys in the northern plains got bins and pits full of feed right there. It's readily available. And they can give it right there to what they have on hand, the main reason they buy anything. If your guys in the southern plains, if they're diversified farming and running cattle too, if they had much decent hay left over, or they produced much, or they had any silage, they would have already sold it to a dairy somewhere. But you look at some late week sales there. Look at Lexington, Nebraska. Their feeder cattle were $4 to $5 higher if you look on the Cattle Market Central Market Report there. And then look on your lighter calves, your 5-weight calves, steer calves $2 to $5 lower, and heifer calves $2 to $5 higher. Bigger push for heifer calves to background because some of your pure hedging outfits come in and wanted to background some of those heifers. So much cheaper. They wanted those cattle, but they didn't like the price, so they went to heifers. But look at a couple quotes on there. On your calf quote there is 206 head of 583-pound steers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon bring 141. We just said that those steer calves were lower. Those calves would have brought a lot closer to 150 last week or the week before that. Now look at another deal on your big yearlings there. Had 74 head of 947 pound big steers, still being able to cling to that April board at $134.85. That's only about $6 under what those light calves there sold for. But we get after the new year, we're not gonna have to worry about anybody trying to make that April board anymore. But from a home office here in Canyon, Texas, working for DV Auction, we'll talk to you on Wednesday.